but I was the only mediator.
Mm,
And it was interesting because in between our sessions, people would come up, they're like, all right, Matthew, how do you
mm,
know these things? Or how did you do these things? Like you were
mm,
sitting in the middle and stuff. And I'm like,
mm,
it's a different perspective when
mm.
you're helping people negotiate rather than actually negotiating.
Sure, sure.
So when you were, you were in the business world doing your stuff, were you actually negotiating on behalf of, or were you teaching how to negotiate? Were you teaching facilitation, mediation? Like, what were you doing?
Well, I loved your story, by the way, Matthew. It's very interesting, and it's funny that you said that you had previously been in role of helping parties to negotiate instead of negotiating yourself. And the fun part is that's actually what I believe negotiation is all about, and that's actually what I preach and what I try and help my students and clients to do. Because what my approach to negotiation is, and not, I'm really not a big fan of smoke and mirrors. You know, you have a lot of our colleagues out there in the world who preaches a lot about, well, it's all about manipulating the counterpart and be, trying to convince them and reading the body language and seeing when they're lying. And I think all of that is fun in a circus. But in the real world, when two organizations, and I'm a commercial negotiator myself, when two organizations and the individual sitting in that negotiation are meeting up, there's only one real purpose for organizations to negotiate with each other, and that is to create and distribute value. That's it, end of the day. So there's a lot of mathematics. And to me, it's really teamwork, because if you and I were representing different organizations, I would say to you, Matthew, I'm here today to help you reduce your cost, your risk, your liabilities, and help you improve your profit. I see that as my purpose. Are you interested in me helping you doing that? Now, I can promise you, Matthew, when you try and do that in the real world, your counterpart will look suspicious at you, but they will say yes, because obviously they want you to help them with all of that, right?
Yeah.
So when you get that acceptance, then the next step is that you ask them, and I see that your purpose here today is to help us reduce our cost, liabilities, and risk, and help us improve our profit. So it's actually teamwork right now, guys. We have to figure out how can we make 2 + 2 equal more than 7. And I want to be successful and create progress, but I don't want to do it at your expense. And I want you to be more successful than you were before you came here today, but that shouldn't happen at my expense either. And I'm sure now, I don't know the simulation that you mentioned where you left several $100,000 on the table, but that is basically what I see every day, every week, every month, Matthew, that you have organizations that think they're great at negotiation. They do a handshake, they sign the contract, they leave the conference room, and they have no, and I apologize for my English, but they have no freaking idea that they left money on the table. They don't see it, they don't realize it, they don't capitalize it.